to see. But deep within the dark, sometimes we can't.
Fake. Oh, you can't hear me. Faye Coleman. She's here. I'm here with two friends. Hold on. Here, come on, so we can see you. Grab a seat here because we camera. Can you get through here? Yeah, we got a couple of mics here, and we got something live here. Okay, so we're live at the Canna One here in Edison. Okay, right on. Here you go. All right, here's your mic. Oh, there you go. I have the wrong mic up. All right, who are you guys, and what are you guys doing here? Want a headphone? There you go. It's real professional here. Yeah. Okay. Can I hear you? You got it right up on that mic.
You got it.
There you go.
All
Yeah.
right.
So who are you, and what are you doing here?
My name's Attila, and I'm coming over here to, I guess, see the next level of cannabis in my own endeavors. So, long-term cultivator, and
really
very interested in pursuing still cultivation, but taking it to the next level. You know, world doesn't need enough cookies. I still love cookies, but
the world doesn't need another cookies.
Another cookie strain. There's a lot out there.
What would happen if the world got another cookie strain?
It would just be another cookie strain.
Saturated. They would need a glass of milk.
I love that answer.
Yeah. Can you hear okay with that? You can flip it over. This one. This over. Is that better?
Yeah.
There you
perfect.
go.
Yeah,
I think you did that on purpose, and like a DJ. I don't know. Maybe you're
not that good. Not
Okay.
that good, man. So I just think there's a whole world out there of cannabis that has yet to be explored as far as genetics wise.
Right.
And I feel that the people should be brought to it, and that people should get an experience of what's really out there, as opposed to just what's being spoon fed.
Oh yeah.
To the masses. I mean, there's a lot of choices out there, but there's still a lot more out there.
The narrative is being controlled.
Absolutely.
As a patient, I feel like we've been passed over. It's all corporate now, and it's all about the money.
Well, it's not medicine to them.
It's not medicine.
When was
at
the
all.
last time you walked into a
Profit.
pharmacy and saw Xanax half price, or depressant buy one get one free, or it's this medicine is the medicine of the week. Like it doesn't happen. To that, it's not medicine. It was, I hate to say this, but the one thing that Governor Christie was right about was the medical aspect in New Jersey is just a front for recreational. It's unfortunate because I'm a medical patient as well, and the quality that's there is just not there. It's not the level of thinking in terms of how they look at patients as consumers. It's just numbers to them. It's just, they're looking at how do I create the most quantity versus quality right now, and what's going to make the most amount of money. So to them, it's just we're going to do volume.
Yeah, that's a very sad thing in the market nowadays. Almost like it reminds me of back in the day that a lot of people used to run a gram per watt ratio kind of a thing to see how their harvests were coming in, how productive their harvests were, and that's a very bad way to look at, in order to see what you're producing, because there's a lot of amazing strains out there that produce very, very light amounts, and those are the strains that need to be explored and given the time to be able to maybe cultivate them, train them properly, to find out the tricks that could allow that strain to still be brought to the masses and still be brought at a proper profit margin. It just takes time before that can happen.
I think there's a lot of the education aspect of things need to be improved as well, because what you're talking about is, the science of the genetics of the seeds and the strains and all that kind of stuff. There's so many layers to it, but we were saying before that, the narrative being controlled right now, so the average consumer has no real clue what they're consuming. and why they're consuming it. They're just being told buy high THC weed because that's what's going to get you high. And meanwhile, it's all about sativas and indicas, and that's it. There's nothing else for you to worry about. Just go buy that. And by the way, it's $80 an eighth. All of us know that cannabis is similar to like craft beer or wine, where there's so many flavors and compounds to it that there's a science. And if we don't control that education to it, then all these genetics you're talking about with these seeds and all these strains and all this stuff, what's the point of it?
Right. No, very true. I find it funny as a cultivator. I often have gotten strains and that I've passed them on to other people, and both parties did excellent work. But the fact that they used different nutrients, it was a different environment. The product came out with its own different nuances. And so I feel that there's so much more in this. Almost like, as you said, the people need to be educated to be able to interpret what is good and what is not so good.
I had an argument with Ed Fortune a couple of years ago about legalization. I said, should vote for legalization because it was a constitutional right to cultivate. It was written in there. That's what I voted on. But that's not what we got. So me and Ed Fortune went back and forth on this, and he voted no. I think he might have been right to vote no. I don't know, because what we have now is just corporate cannabis. We had at least patient focus before. Right, I think I don't know. I just feel like I may have misvoted by voting yes for this shit that we got now. Voters' remorse.
Voters' remorse.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a double-edged sword. I feel like we're fortunate enough that now we have legal cannabis. The process by which it's legalized was a little bastardized. And it's still a little hazy.
Politicians failed us. That's what happened. They really failed us, and we had a vote on this issue. I don't think they thought it was going to pass. Maybe, I don't know, but 3/4 of us wanted that.
I don't think there was enough thought behind all of it, because the governor came in and his whole shtick in the beginning was, I'm going to legalize it in the first 100 days, and we all know what happened, right? Which, by the way, been trying to find video of him talking about that.
Oh, they've been erased.
They have totally been scrubbed. 100% been scrubbed. I cannot find one of these videos anywhere.
You won't find them. No.
And
if you find it, they will get you.
Oh,
You'll
probably.
disappear.
But here we are now. It was just legalized in April 21st of 2022, which is 533 days since we voted on it. So it's just, I don't know. There's just.
So we have the constitutional right to grow, yet we can't grow. Like the sign here says, cancer patients growing weed go to jail for 5 years, but growing for money is okay. So why did corporations need the constitutional right? Does an entity need constitutional rights, or do we, the people, need these constitutional rights? We have those rights. And I think the guy that just got busted growing in Hackensack, he should take his case to the Supreme Court.
Seems like it.
Yeah, he should just keep fighting, not take a plea.
Well, I think I read the text in that public in the public question, and it does say the right to cultivate and whatnot, but it's very vague.
It is.
It's very vague.
It's very vague
because it doesn't specifically say for business or for personal or whatever. It just says specific what you're saying, like cultivation and legalization.
Yeah.
But then it says as per like the CRC regulation or something like that. So
yeah.
But again, that's still kind of gray area. You're like so vague, and I feel like he should. This case is something that people should know more about it, because it's not. I mean, it's silly. It's a plant. Why can't we just grow our own plants?
Absolutely.
What's the difference in growing a tomato plant?
Yeah, I've heard of there was a few companies that I guess they're multi-state operators, and they've actually put their money, or they've actually fought against allowing home grow.
Yeah.
And which sickens me, because people still buy their product, and this is clearly a company that is not for the people.
Which one?
Cresco.
Cresco.
Cresco, I believe, fought against New York
Oh, they
for
had a lot
New
of
York
issues.
to have home grow.
They lobbied Cuomo. They lobbied to have him.
So let me put this to you. If I were to buy a home brewing system to make my own beer at home, am I going to put Miller Lite out of business?
Well, of course not.
Should Miller Lite or Corona be concerned about me making beer in my basement?
I wish they would be, but no.
What's that?
They should be, but no.
So why,
Make better beer than them.
if I were to grow my own plant, why should anybody care? Like I'm not taking this state from anybody else. It's just I want it for myself.
Right. And it's funny, and as the market's dropping and getting more affordable for people to get high quality, most people in the end are not farmers. In other words, while I love cultivating cannabis, I still buy my cherries. I buy all my other stuff from a regular grocery store, and I think for most of the people, if they have a good quality at a good price, even if they get themselves a tent or whatever, they start doing their thing. In the end, they go back to their own world if they're not really truly into it in the first place, and they go purchase from someone else. It really is a no threat, and it's a complete plus to the medical community, because the medical community should benefit from that example. It's not taking away anything from the big guys, but it would provide a great safety net for a lot of people to not have to pay for their medicine at all, you know?
We'd buy clones and seeds and stuff. And still buy weed too, I'm sure.
Right, sure.
I mean, if I'm making my own beer, I'm not gonna just drink my own beer. I'm
Right.
gonna go to the store still. It's ludicrous what they.
But if you needed beer to survive, and it was not just something that you purchased, that
There it is.
it was a need. Why are you getting? I mean, you might not be able to afford that need.
Yeah.
And there should be that home grow allows maybe small cooperatives and stuff like that to get together to truly serve patients the way they.
You
the way
can
it should be.
create a community grow collaborative.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That would be something of interest.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know. So I think these companies are doing themselves a big disservice,
Yeah.
and I would hope that people grab onto that and not purchase their products.
Now, what would happen if insulin became recreational? If a drug like insulin that people need to save their lives, now all of a sudden you get high off insulin, so people started buying insulin recreationally. So they had a whole industry based on recreational insulin now. But the patients that really need insulin are still paying ridiculous prices,
Right.
still suffering. So the analogy of that to cannabis, somebody made that analogy to me. I'm like, what if it was insulin we were talking about? I'm like, oh, yeah, you know, it doesn't make sense. Why would they just skip over the patients? And there'd be an outrage. There'd be
Right, exactly.
public outrage.
Exactly.
We don't have that because we're stigmatized.
Because nobody sees it as medicine.
And nobody sees it as medicine. We're stigmatized. It's a double whammy.
Yeah, it's the stigma of being a cannabis consumer, and it's just not only do we need reform of legislation, but we need reform of just perception in general of the way people. Because it doesn't harm anybody else if I'm smoking a joint somewhere. Like, what do you care?
That's right.
But
very, very true.
you know, there's just I don't know.
I think some states have a stronger. I'd say the West Coast has a real strong FU toward the system, which I really like. And I think there was a group called WHAM, and it was a lot of very sick patients out of Northern California, and the DEA raided their farms. And from what I understand, they blocked the roadways. I mean, there was wheelchairs in the roadways as the DEA were trying to get out of the farm, protesting. And I feel like New Jersey and a lot of states kind of lack a lot of people just take things for granted and would rather write off, well, I'm in trouble, I'm not going to fight it. It's just the cost of doing business or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And don't take these challenges that we need to do. And I think that's why we're in the situation that we're in, that people are overlooked when they should have been first in line.
Yeah.
You know. So
Well, it's all about the profits.
unfortunately is, but we can you can make profit and still do good. You know, I mean, why does the CEO make 1,000 times the number of the average worker? I don't like that business model. I know some people will argue against that with me, but
That's a corporate model.
Right. I don't believe in
That's
that.
not a mom and pop model.
I believe multiple mom and pops would do much better than one larger and usually the top don't even live in the state or in the area that the workers exist in, the product gets produced, and they take their money. They almost remove money out of the area.
They don't even smoke pot.
Right.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. You've got all these corporate. You've got these companies that are coming into the state with millions of dollars, but they got either a black person or a woman as the front person, and behind everybody else is a bunch of old white dudes that don't smoke pot, don't have an intention of smoking pot, and all they care about.
Want to make money off them.
Exactly, and all they want is the profit, and then it turns into the Targets and the Walmarts of cannabis, and then we start getting the quantity over quality, and
Absolutely.
again we go back to the aspect where the majority of people don't even realize what they're smoking, what they're consuming, and they're being told this is what you should be buying because this is what makes us money. Don't look anywhere else. This is what we're doing, and you talk about the mom and pops, like. It's unfortunate it's happening in the state where the mom and pop shop are having to fight such a battle to even get a seat at the table.
Oh, uphill, sure.
You know, the barrier to this is so ridiculous high, not only monetarily, but the stress level is just insane because you're dealing with so many layers of you know, political aspects and municipality and so many like layers of sophistication too with application process, SOPs and employees, and then you got to worry about insurance, and then you got to pay this fee and that fee, and then oh, by the way, your cannabis, that's immediately $15,000. You know, at the end of the day, like, who's actually going to be in business in the next 5 years? Are there going to be small business? Is there going to be a mom and pop shop? Or is it all going to be MSOs? Is it all going to be millions of dollars of quantity stuff where you go and you buy the bag of weed that's been sitting on the shelf for a year, and you get home and you open it up and it looks like hay, and you're like,
Happened to me.
and it happened to me too, which is crazy because I never heard anybody else is happening to, and it's like, what am I gonna like? Hay, what am I gonna do with a bunch of hay? Hay is for horses. You know, I want weed. I want cannabis that's going to be good, and I want it to be quality. I want it to be
Hand trimmed.
I want flavors. I
some
want
love into
smells.
it.
I want
Sure.
the terpenes. I want the all these things to it. Like, I don't want you to tell me cannabis. I don't want you to tell me, oh, it's sativa. That means nothing to me.
Yeah.
That means absolutely nothing. Like, and the average person again doesn't even know about that. So like, you fast forward the next 5 years. That's where everything's going to be. That's where the evolution of cannabis is. It's in the terpenes, and it's in the flavor compounds and stuff like that. The average person doesn't know about that. So if you're not thinking about that stuff today, your business is not going to be in business, because eventually it's going to be, people will wisen up, I think. But here we are.
I'm trying to find out what terps work for me because I'm sick of all the names. I'm over all the different names. I can't keep track
The
of it.
strains of names.
Because you have
It's
green,
so bastardized.
green crack here in Jersey is totally different from green
Sure.
crack.
Depends on the cultivator, where they got their genetics
Yeah.
from, which
It's all, you know what
phenotype
the
it shows.
problem of it all is like the years of being of having to operate in the shadow black market. Genetics of seeds get bastardized or mislabeled or not
Absolutely,
labeled
absolutely.
or
Yeah.
lost or forgotten, and then you don't really know what's what. So to tell me that this strain is this and it's that, it's like, how do I really know?
Yeah.
Unless I go and actually test it, right?
Right. I want a terp profile because there's terps that I need. There's terps.
To say about soil, you grow grapes in certain soil, depending on the grape. You get good when you get bad one, and that's why certain soils like Humboldt has good soil, and certain places can't grow the same kind of thing, no matter what, the exact same seed and the exact same thing. If you have the right conditions, the right climate, the right soil, all those things, you got a totally different plant.
For sure. Thank you.
It's a bioaccumulator. I've learned that when you grow weed, whatever you're growing around it, it will pull in aspects of that plant.
That's interesting that you said that. I've always wanted to grow outdoor crops and ally them to see if there would be a flavor, a profile change. So if I grew everything next to blueberries,
Yes, would it actually pull
Would
in
it-
a blueberry?
right, right.
So I have somewhat of data for your analysis on there
Okay,
because
beautiful.
because my father recently just took his plant down, but he tossed like 12 seeds in his garden in his house. and he lives in New Jersey, by the way. But
We have a cannabis cup next month if he's interested.
well, he ended up taking it down because I told him. But anyway, he threw 12 seeds in his garden and was just like, we'll see what happens, and it took hold. But he's got basil, he's got tomatoes, and he's got peppers. So this plant, it was beautiful. I got pictures. I'll show you a picture. It smells like it's got like the faintest hint of basil, but it smells like green pepper. It smells like a bell pepper, and he took it down too soon because it's still illegal to home grow in New Jersey, and my dad's moving, so he's got people visiting
Not
the
according
house.
to what I voted.
Well, yeah,
I'd fight that.
yeah. Well, anyway, so he took it down before it really had time to mature.
Gotcha.
So we never really going to know the truth
outcome.
about that. But
So sad.
but it's just seeing the plant in general, like being there, looking at it, and looking at his garden. Like you look at the soil that he's got with all the other plants, and he waters it. So you see the soil, everything's all wet except around the plant itself because it's just sucking all that water. And he was like, holy shit. He's like, I've got to water this thing like nonstop because it's just sucking all the water.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right. I would definitely be interested to try a smoke on that.
I do
yeah.
have some of it, but it's not. Again, it was so immature when he pulled it off that it's
Right.
he's got like little popcorn buds.
Right. We'll have to do like forensic evaluation,
Okay.
and
Sure.
look deeper into that
Scope.
Right. Exactly. We could
It would be interesting to try to see.
Right.
I wonder if there's any growers that actually do attempt to do something like that. I mean, you've got all sorts of people that are into the genetics of like splicing roses and stuff like that. Like, why can't we do stuff with cannabis?
Infusing the genetics with environment, I guess.
Yeah.
And,
I wonder if that's possible.
See
I mean,
if we could not change the genetics, but
Change the
add-
actual thing. Well,
Yes.
if you a very interesting story of how the avocado came into effect was the natural avocado itself is not what we actually eat. We're eating the Haas avocado, which was. Now I'm going to totally bastardize this whole story, so you should look it up for yourself. But the genetics of the Haas avocado was actually blended with something else. So they created their own version of an avocado, but if you splice it a certain way, part of the plant will grow one avocado, and the other part of the plant will grow a different avocado.
Wow.
And depending on what it is, like it's not edible. Like you can't even eat a raw like a wild avocado.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like it's the genetics
Didn't know that.
and the biology of horticulture, of plant sciences.
Right.
It's so fascinating, and I feel like if we really took the time to kind of study some of this stuff, things that we can create with cannabis just be amazing.
Absolutely. Sky's the limit, I feel, with an open mind and not putting profit on every
Well, that's
on every cap.
Again, the problem, and especially here in New Jersey, the way that the legislation came about and the way that people kind of had to figure things out for themselves and skirt around it and create, these opportunities that were not really meant to be there. So they created this gray market of certain things.
Sure.
And, now as legalization is coming online, now we're building on top of this gray market of things that people found the loopholes for. So those loopholes are still there, and it's kind of like making the actual legalization of things a little bit more difficult. So it's like, we shot ourselves in the foot in the sense on that side, but it's craziness. It sure is.
Right, for sure, guys.
But listen, I would love to continue the podcast, but I got a PTA thing. I got to
Right
go.
on, brother.
I got to go set up some pumpkins.
I smell weed. Someone's smoking weed. Did you
I
smell
don't
weed?
know, but me.
Let me ask you a question. Wait, before you go. When was the first time you smoked weed?
The first time I smoked weed was 8th grade. My friend Ron gave me a little dime bag.
Shout out to Ron.
It was a freshman in school. He gave it to me in like the stairway or something like that. And then I went home, went to the nearby park, and I had like a 35 millimeter film canister
Oh, yeah.
and a cap. Made my own little bong
You
thing.
made a bong out of plastic?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, out of a film canister, which is probably the worst thing because it's got all the film emulsion in there. So, like, who knows what I was smoking?
Wow, you're still alive.
Yeah, right. And coincidentally, I bumped into this other kid that I knew, and he like sat with me. He didn't smoke it, but like I smoked with this guy, and it was my first time smoking with. It was just like this random, bizarre thing.
Wow. Did you get high the first time?
I don't remember. Probably.
Probably got high
You know
off
what? I think I
plastic.
did because
I
I
did
think I
not.
remember my mom.
Yeah.
I came home. My mom asked me if I've ever smoked pot, and so she must have known.
Wow.
Have you guys? Did both of you guys get high the first time? I did not. I
No.
did not get high the first
No.
time I smoked pot. It was like the third time, and
Wow.
when I actually, the kick in, so to speak,
Yeah,
felt. The first
really.
two did not.
How old were you when you first smoked?
15.
15.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, second question. What's your favorite munchie food when you're stoned?
My favorite munchie food when I'm stoned. I don't know. I kind of just go for everything.
I don't know. I'm too stoned right now to think.
I don't. I know. I don't really get the munchies.
No?
Honestly, no. My wife gets the munchies big time. And she's not a big consumer, so like she'll smoke,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then she'll just go into the kitchen and just start like chomping on everything.
Nice. Me too.
I don't know. I could kind of.
What's your favorite food in general?
My favorite food in general. I don't know. Pretzels.
Pretzels.
I like pretzels.
Would that be your go-to if you're stoned?
Probably.
Yeah,
if I had
pretzel?
them on hand, I would definitely be going for pretzels.
The soft, the fresh ones or the bagged ones? The hard
Well,
ones?
it's hard to keep soft pretzels at home, but I like the hard, salty sourdough.
Sourdough.
Oh yeah,
There you go.
the crunchy
Okay.
ones.
Now you got me going.
When they're extra, there's this one brand that's got like the extra dark, like crispy pretzels. I don't know. Now
that
those are really
sounds
good. Those are really good.
Making me hungry.
Yeah.
Third question. Give me a life lesson that you carry around with you. Like if your friend was depressed or anxious and you wanted to help him, like just lift him up and build his spirits, what would you tell somebody or anybody that would, like a life's gem?
The greatest samurai that ever lived, Miyamoto Musashi. His motto was "There's always a better way." There's always a better way, and this is a guy who, by the time he was 13, was one of the greatest swordsmen. He'd already killed like two people, 3 people, or whatever. And there's a story where he landed on this beach or something like that and had a fight with somebody, a sword duel. He challenged somebody, the great swordsman of some clan or tribe or whatever, and challenged him to a sword fight. But Miyamoto Musashi decided he was going to teach the guy a lesson and kind of embarrass him. So instead of using a sword, he used a stick, like a twig that he found on the beach, and single-handedly actually defeated this guy to the point of like, you're done. Like now I've bested you. But the moral of that is there's always a better way. Like even without the sword, he still found how to defeat this guy. So no matter what's going on in life, there's always a better way.
Wow, that's awesome. I want to know more about the film you're making and why you're making it, but we don't have time.
Yeah, well,
today,
if I could plug it really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
ThetruthAboutCannabisNess.com. So the film itself is a documentary that's following legalization of cannabis in New Jersey as it's happening in real time. It's chronicling the challenge, the roller coaster that these people that are applying for dispensaries and cultivation licenses that they're facing. I mean, that's just. Again, we've been talking about the whole aspect of education in this industry. The average consumer does not know what's going on. It doesn't know about the price gouging and the lack of racial equity and the social justice and all this stuff. I can go on and on and on and on and on.
We'll have to talk more.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on the thing. I'm glad we met.
JC too. Thank you, brother.
Lefty, take care, man.
You got a
You too. Oh,
sorry, we
You got a
got
website? Is there a website?
ThetruthAboutCannabisNess.com.
ThetruthAboutCannabisNess.com.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, awesome.
I'm on the second question with you.
Okay.
Your munchie food. What's your favorite munchie food?
So I try to stay away from a lot of the sweets and salts, man.
Right. Me too.
But there's some good bakeries around where I live, and I like some things that are new and bakery orientated.
Bakery. Okay.
Like if
Yeah, I got you.
You know
what
what I'm
town are you from? In Pennsylvania.
somewhere
You're
in PA.
Pennsylvania. Okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
In Bayonne, we have nice bakeries in Bayonne. So
Right.
just saying.
You know, if I'm going to go for sugar, I'm going to try to kick it up a notch. At least take a more quality,
Right.
quality snack if I can.
Right.
Nothing against the chips and candy bars group though. Just
I've
Well,
got you too.
yeah.
The last question is, what's a life gem you would give to your friend who, if you had a friend who's depressed or anxious, and you want to just lift them up and give them some support? What would you tell them?
change is always coming.
Change is always coming.
Feel bad now, you'll feel good tomorrow. You'll feel good. You know.
Right on, brother.
Thanks a lot for the time, man.
Thank you.
Really
man.
appreciate
Thanks so
it.
much. And how you doing? Well, good. Can I ask what you're doing here? How are you?
With an associate.
Okay.
I'm here with an associate of mine, George Martirano.
Okay.
He has the Grow Father brand.
Oh, right on.
George was a first-time nonviolent offender. Got sentenced to life without parole.
Oh.
Did 32 years, 5 years in solitary. Now he's back out. It's legal. He has his Grow Father brand going. He's here if you want to talk with him at some point.
Yeah. Where'd he go?
He's outside with Randy Lanier. They were roomies together.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'll bring him over.
Wow. Yeah, Randy has a story. Oh, my goodness.
As does George.
And George, too.
Yes. George's a Philadelphia and Randy's a Florida guy. Yeah, he's done some documentaries and some other
Stuff about the past. I used to read things from the days of the past of smuggling.
Correct.
So I'm just trying to connect names.
Yeah.
You know.
George, a Philadelphia guy. They said he went life without parole back in 1983.
Wow. Those were I always felt like the 80s.
Correct.
At least in my living was the dark. That motivated me when I saw how strong the government was willing to come down on something that actually helped people and did good.
Yeah.
You know, they're willing to give life sentences away. You know, horrible, man. Dark day. Hopefully they're a thing of the past, even though the battle is far from over.
Correct. But like I say, he did 32 years, and he tells me he used to count Christmases. That's how he counted his time being away. Wow. 5 years in solitary as well.
There should be like a mega lawsuit.
But ironically,
You know.
you see when you talk with him, he came out, I like to say, not bitter, he came out better. Not bitter, he came out better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
True sign of a good man. Do you know what
Correct.
I'm saying? When you go through the worst, instead of following the worst, he rose above and shined no matter
Yeah.
the situation that he was put in.
Correct. Let me get him, I'll bring him over.
Sure, thank you. Amazing. Yeah. Wow.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me on.
Thank you,
man.
brother.
Appreciate it.
Take care, man. Wow. So we're here at the Canna One in Edison. And hey, Chris. Hold on. My chair's stuck here. Okay, here we go. Hi, Faye. Come on in. Have a seat. How are you? Can you squeeze through there?
Oh my gosh.
How are you? Here, come on.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm in a lot of pain today, but get through. Hey, you want here?
Getting through it the right way?
I get a few dabs off Bonholio, and I'm a lot better now.
Feeling better?
Yeah, I'm
Or
feeling
soon
better.
to feel better?
Yeah.
I get it.
So, what are you doing here today? What's going on?
I'm here to check out Canna One.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this is an awesome opportunity for everybody to engage and check out some of these great vendors that are here today, learn some great things in terms of how you move your business forward. And, you know, as Pure Genesis is always looking for opportunities to elevate and improve our own business, I'm certain we'll come out feeling educated and ready to get down the next path.
There's been some great talks here already. Amazing talks. Like they had a talk yesterday about social media, right up my alley, because like shadow banning and stuff. Because we got shadow banned because of Bonholio.
Oh,
Yeah, we shadow banned. We got TikTok banned us for a week because of the bong. Yeah.
very nice. Very
Unbelievable.
nice.
So they had a great talk, and there's other people that are going through this apparently, especially in the cannabis business. If you're on Facebook and you do Facebook ads for your cannabis business, they'll shut you down.
I know. Listen, there's so many fears out there in terms of this industry. You got to get educated.
You have to know where to go. Like
You
LinkedIn.
gotta know where to go.
LinkedIn is very cannabis friendly, apparently.
Very cannabis friendly, but then you want to come to, of course, webinars, conferences, expos like this one,
Yeah.
where you can get educated and understand what you need to do and not do. Because what you don't want to do, one, is get kicked off of social media. Two, get kicked out of your bank. Three, get kicked out of your community. So there's a lot of missteps that you can make, and certainly there are so many vendors here that can put you on the right path.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to have the opportunity to network and learn more. I know that Ed DeVoe will be speaking this afternoon, so can't wait to hear his messaging around this industry.
Yes.
I myself will have an opportunity to be part of the social equity panel with Nichelle Santos from Canna Coverage, and we'll be talking about supplier diversity and how do we improve that within the state. And I think the CRC is getting their legs about them, and I think that we're finally going down the right path.
What can the CRC do to help? Because a lot of people tell me, oh, the CRC should give us the right to grow. They don't have that power. But what can they do to help us get home grow and things that we need as patients? Is there anything they could do, really? Maybe lobby for us? Or
I think there has to be a stronger lobby from the citizens, right?
Yeah.
That say that they want home grow.
Yeah.
And, because CRC is part of the state, and the state moves as their citizens dictate. Right.
Yeah.
So as we begin to say this is something that we really want, then the state will begin to act upon it, and not until then.
Yeah.
Right. So you have some opportunities around that. But, as businesses are looking to get started up, of course, what is the biggest challenge on everybody's books? You got three things to focus on. You got to focus on opportunity. You got to look at access. You got to look at sustainability in terms of businesses and how they're moving forward. The CRC is giving us opportunity, right? It's prioritizing accordingly and moving businesses forward. They're giving us access. Access really comes through our municipalities. Let's face it. Municipalities own the industry. They say who comes in, who doesn't come in, right? And then you have sustainability. And sustainability really is about capital. That's the barrier.
a lot of businesses are going to sell probably, right? You think at some point, like you'd build it up and then sell it? Because I saw a few people here have sold their business for quite a lot of money.
I think if you don't have a solid exit strategy in this industry, I think you're setting yourself up.
Yeah.
If you're a small business, if you're an MSO, maybe not so much. But we
Okay.
all know once this becomes federally legal, if you don't have a solid exit strategy, what's going to happen? You're going to either get bought out or shut out.
Mm-hmm.
What side of that coin do you want to be on?
What did you think about President Biden pardoning all the prisoners? Federal prisoners.
Federal prisoners only.
And only for possession.
Only for possession. I thought it was remarkable. I think it was unexpected. I think he had communicated that he wants all the states to follow suit, and hopefully they do, including New Jersey. And I'm excited to see that, we're looking to deschedule, right? And I think it follows three patterns, right? You begin with decrim, then you deschedule, then you allow for safe banking, and then you federally legalize. Do I have that in the right order? So I really think this is the beginning of that. I think the door has been cracked open. I don't think Biden's ready to talk full.
No, I don't think so.
Right? I think that's going to take a
He's
minute. He's just trying to say, hey, here's some things that we can do.
Yeah.
And I think the safe banking is probably going to be on either side of that fence.
Is there bipartisan support for safe banking, you think? Or what do you think? Maybe in
I think
Jersey?
there's some.
Yeah.
I think there's probably more in New Jersey than there may be at the federal level.
Yeah.
But I do think there's some. I still think it'll be a while. I think some people are now saying it's going to happen within the year. Some people say by the first quarter of next year. I don't know if we're quite there, but I don't know. See, I'm probably the one sitting here saying I don't know if I'm a proponent of safe banking. And it's because when safe banking is legalized, what's going to happen? You're going to have MSOs get exorbitant amounts of money, right? Excessive loans with great terms, right? And then what's going to happen to small and minority businesses? They'll get the same banking services they get today. Small loans, bad terms, or denied.
Why is that?
We have to look at the stain on the industry, and the stain as a whole in this country is lack of intentional investment in Black and brown businesses. Period. Full stop. Until we can rationalize, rectify, revisit, and do something about that, we'll continue to perpetuate the same systemic challenges that we're faced right now. I mean, am I saying anything out of turn?
Yeah, Chris, you want to have a business in Dover, right? Cannabis business.
Yeah. One of the issues is, they allowed everything. Everything is available for us. We can do it. We can only put businesses in the industrial zone. So when you look at the industrial zone, there's only warehouses. There's none for the small mom and pop.
That's right.
You know, it's all 20,000 square foot plus. How does that work for us? You know what I mean? And especially where I live, I'm from Dover. We're a Hispanic community, and we are part of the impact zone.
Yes.
So how did I don't need an answer. I just can't wrap my head around how can my town be an impact zone, and I call it greenlining because it's like redlining, but for cannabis. You know, you're greenlining us. You know, in the sense where you're telling us where to go, where we can go, and where we can't go, if space is available. You know,
Chris, you make the most valid point. And again, it goes back to municipalities controlling the industry, right? Because now you do have that green lining, if you will, versus red lining, right? And where the bottom line is I need to be in an optimal revenue generating location. And where is that opportunity for me, someone like me, right? So when I look across and I see someone else with high traffic, right demographic, you know, growing area, and then here I sit, you know, in an area that is quite the opposite. Where's the fairness in that? What happens is they get allowed to check off the box that I'm allowing my community to mirror me, but not have the same advantages. Right? Yep. So, and it really does come down to that. And that's why I said it's opportunity, it's access, and it's sustainability, right? Because, okay, I got the opportunity, I got the access, I can get it done, but I won't have sustainability. I can't really do a business here that's revenue generating in a way that's going to perpetuate me to be here long term. And that's what you're saying where you're at.
And another issue for me is lounges. You know, a lot of these places are, you know, it may come with the rec program. But for me, it's more for a medical patient. See, when I was in a wheelchair and the people that live in assisting housing and areas like that, they can't consume inside.
That's
Where
right.
are we left to consume? I was consuming outside, snowing, hail, rain. I had to consume outside. And that's another issue. Where are you going to go? My town has a bar on every block. I mean, you're going to tell me there's even one probably literally across the street from a middle school, but they have issues with lounges being put up. But then again, they don't want to keep us in the street. But like I said, again, for me, it comes with the rec program, but for me, it's more a medical marijuana patient issue, not having these safe haven places.
I think you're absolutely right. The safe haven places are absolutely necessary. And we all know that with federal housing, right? You can't consume in federal housing. It's illegal. You get kicked out of your property, you consume in federal housing. So consumption lounges are necessary. It's a necessity if you're going to be legal within a state. So that's something that we have to make certain that we mandate. Otherwise, it becomes a perpetual cycle of how we get into the gotcha syndrome of disenfranchising people further as we bring things forward legally. We know how that works.
Didn't Joe Biden just give some order to the housing guy, the housing authority, about that issue?
He did.
Wasn't there some memo or something?
There was, but I can't remember everything. I would to tell you, I recall it.
Something happened with that, and I think there's some changes may be coming with that hopefully soon.
I think all the changes are eventually coming, just hopefully are, BIPOC communities, or I'll say Black and Brown specifically, aren't being disenfranchised in the meantime while we're waiting for things to roll downhill, right? Because that's normally what happens. We're, kind of in the gray area, if you will. And that's what happens in some of these local communities. They're in the gray area of trying to put processes in place to grant approvals. In the meantime, if you have real estate that's being held for you, right? Now you're paying monthly while you're waiting for them to get their acts together. 5, 6, 7 months, 12 months, and now
And
you're
if you're
on the
under
books.
social equity, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
You don't have that.
Right. You have to let the property go, so you lose your property, right? And then you potentially lose your financier. You potentially lose that property, and then you're trying to go somewhere else. We have how many municipalities? 70 in New Jersey out of 550 that are in? Come on. And how many businesses are going to be to the approval in each community? Right? It is a handful. So, right, it is a dog eat dog. I mean, last year, we locked our property down last year when the CRC was still being these processes done on purpose, because we knew this day would come where everyone would be scattering for real estate, and only those who were financially fluid would survive it. Bottom line. So right now, you've got to watch out for those who are coming in and looking to control your business. Unwritten agreements where, okay, I'll come and I'll play the minority partner for a minute, and in 3 years, 5 years, property rolls over to me, the license rolls over to me. So there's a lot of that going on right now. So
like Ice-T, what Ice-T is doing.
Really? You mean it's a bunch of white people behind him doing that?
No, it's Ice-T. Ice-T
just
is
Ice-T.
behind it, but he's like co-signing. It's like a co-sign.
Because
like,
I heard there's...
I got you, I'll put all this up and forward. I'm just allegedly saying.
I heard they have old people, old white people that don't even like weed, that are putting Black and brown people up in front of their business as the face of their business. And I've heard it from somebody actually in Jersey City a couple of years ago.
I think that's where he's opening, right? In Jersey City.
Yeah, it's
Not that one, though.
It's there's some, to your point, yes, there is some fronting going on where you're standing up demographics that will support application. And it's unfortunate because that lends itself to some other challenges that are not quite, it doesn't make your business stand up in quite, I think, the most integrity driven way. But yes, you have a lot of that going right now. Let's face it, the cannabis industry is almost like real estate right now, right? Everybody wants in. And, I would have said Bitcoin a couple of years ago, but where Bitcoin is right now, so we won't talk about Bitcoin. But it's almost like Bruno, right? Bruno and Bitcoin, we're not going to talk about that right now. However, coming into this industry, can't tell you how many calls even my attorney gets on a daily basis of people wanting to come in to New Jersey specifically. People talk about, is the California market dead? The green rush is on the East Coast. New Jersey, everybody wants in on. Listen, you got 100 million people that pass through the state every year.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? You be the judge, right?
I mean, one to your point is like Cookies is here. Like they want a part of it.
Correct. I mean, right now, of course, Pure Genesis, we're looking to be in Atlantic City. Okay, we're across the street from the Hard Rock. Okay, we own our real estate. Okay, we have our letters. Okay, so we're in, I would say, a unique position, because even as Black and brown, everybody's not in the same position as us. So right now, we look to those who reach out to us to see how we can help, right? Understanding what other communities are friendly in giving approvals, what other communities have real estate that are in optimal revenue generating locations. All those things matter. Providing them with vendors or ancillary businesses that are going to be fair in terms of fees and they're effective, right? Those are things that we need. We've got to do a better job at collaborating to help lift everyone else. And I'm talking about all small businesses to lift everyone else, because the MSOs are going to come in and they're going to ride us hard on product and price. Hard on product and price. And a lot of people, I'll use a technical term, clown. They clown the MSOs because they say they don't have good product. But as a prior retailer, I can tell you this. Most of your customers have no idea what good product is.
Unfortunately,
Okay?
that's true.
So you want the market that knows good product, but you're going to have a high percentage of your market that has no idea what they are consuming, right? And that doesn't mean you give them bad product. By that I mean bad quality, this, not, and the other. But you may have product that is more generic, not the
craft,
same
not craft
high
cannabis.
craft caliber quality product that may dictate a different price point. So you have to be mindful as a retailer and as a cultivator and as someone developing products, what does that look like? There should be a balance, a portfolio of products that you're bringing forward to meet all the needs. So I just say be careful, because some people say, oh, I'm only going to grow craft, this, that's great. I said, but keep in mind, I'm a retailer, okay? Retail is all about service, providing a great experience, educating our customers, making certain that they're safe, having great products on the shelf, and inventory movement. And if you're not doing those things, all of them well, your business is in trouble. And I have to count on the cultivators and the manufacturers upstream to help me. So for me right now, I'm in conversations collaborating with various cultivators and manufacturers so can protect on product and price. Because what I can't have is empty shelves. What I can't have is poor quality product, right? And what I can't have is a price point where it allows me to not make any money and have any profit.
Now, all the cannabis that you would sell would have to be grown in Jersey?
Yes,
Yeah.
for now.
For now.
I would say for now.
Is that change?
It would only change with federal legalization.
Right.
You know, so.
Here, when these dispensaries first open up, like Garden State Dispensary, when they first opened up, where'd they get their seeds from?
You asking me that question?
Yeah, what do you think?
I can't say where they got those
Is there a
seeds
stork
from.
or a seed fairy or something?
I think the seed fairies came over New Jersey.
I have a good. I was telling him, maybe a bird ate a seed and flew over.
And dropped it.
Okay, that works
You
for
know
me.
what?
That's what I think.
I think Chris is right. I think much like
The
the
natural
storks
way.
Yeah.
delivered those babies,
Thousands of
I
years.
think the storks delivered those seeds. It's the same scenario, right?
It's been working for millions of years.
It's been working for millions of years. It's been working for
Since
millions.
human time, right?
But I
Human
do
history.
think the challenge right now is going to be on the cultivation end,
Mm-hmm.
right? We've already approved how many conditionals, most for dispensaries, right? There's going to be a green rush of dispensaries opening. The challenge is going to be the cultivation, right? How much grow we actually do in a certain period of time. I'd probably say July of next year will be a good question. We'll see. Because dispensaries will start opening up, and then we'll see who can actually be able to maintain the demand, because it's going to be a demand equation. We already know that right now, dollars per pound, somewhere between $2,000 and $4,000, right? So everybody likes that price point. So I don't know. We got a cap on cultivators. When does that change?
Right, because then it'll end up what happening in Oregon, right, where they have too much supply,
Right.
and it just brings everything down.
Or what's that? Is it Missouri? Who gave out all the 10,000 licenses? Where was that?
Oh.
I don't think, was that Missouri? I can't remember. I'm blanking now.
Wait, 10,000 licenses. Was that Oklahoma?
Oklahoma. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's Oklahoma. So Oklahoma
Saturated. Yeah, over.
saturated their market, pretty
Right.
much killed their market, right? New Jersey's not going to do that. First of all, government leadership is smart enough to know better than that, right? Second of all, you have enough NSOs in the state that will lobby against that, right? Third of all, because it's so expensive, there will be only so many businesses, small businesses, that will survive it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Given a license or not. Now, we know in Oklahoma they give out tens of thousands of licenses, but I only think, 15% of them have a chance to get operational, and of that, even there's a small percentage that are actually operational.
Okay.
So, there is that.
Too many dispensaries, not enough dispensaries.
Right now, it's the cultivation game. How fast can you grow, and how well can you grow? Quality is about product, and it's about yield, and setting the right price. For a retailer, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So,
Like Durban poison, it helps diabetes. It's not a strain that is a very big yield. It's a very low yield. But Durban poison is it's for diabetics. It's a appetite suppressant.
Mm-hmm.
It's used for certain specific reasons, but don't grow it in Jersey because it's not a big money maker. It doesn't have a lot of weight to it. It's very fluffy. I saw it only once, and I saw it with seeds actually, and I'm like, it's white seeds.
we're back to seeds.
Back to the seeds again. So yeah. But Durban poison was one that I don't see that in Jersey.
Well, I think you bring up a great point. This is always, now we're in a gray area, right? You bring up an excellent, and I think I know where you're going. Every dispensary will say that, of course, we welcome our patients and we welcome our customers, right? We've got our recreational market, we got our medical market, right? So we want to be able to make certain we can meet the needs of both. So it's going to be critical as retailers reach out to cultivators to understand clearly what are you growing for, to understand what the viability is of doing business, having that supply chain, that ecosystem locked down so that you can be sustainable in the products you're going to provide, especially for patients. I think it's irresponsible to make temporary agreements for product that you can't maintain in your dispensary that impacts patients to that degree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure nobody does not want to do that, but you have to be strategic in making certain that you're making the right agreements and having the right relationships as you put that ecosystem together.
Interesting. I got 3 questions for you.
You got
before
three.
You go.
3 questions before you go.
This is Bongholia was actually questioning people at the 420 Expo, and it was great. He was living his best life, just going around for 9 hours. He actually walked around in that thing.
Okay.
He'd be a great mascot. You guys should hire him.
Okay.
He had 3 questions he was asking everybody. The first question was, when was the first time you smoked weed?
The first time I smoked weed, I think I was 17, and I took 2 puffs, my girlfriend and I, and we literally kikied stereotypically behind the bleachers. I'm that person. I'm that person. I kiki behind the bleachers. I don't even know if we inhaled the right way to even get a contact. Now, my first contact was at a Parliament Funkadelic concert.
Oh, come on.
That I won tickets to on a radio show. My cousin had to take me because I wasn't even old enough to go. He, of course, partook, but I didn't. That whole place at the time, that entire arena was smoke-filled.
Hot box.
And I was the hottest, highest I'd ever been and has since ever been. Now, since then, when was the last time I smoked cannabis?
Oh, okay. I'll ask that question. Sure. Ask
Was the
yourself that
first time I smoked it behind the bleachers. Haven't smoked it again.
one. Really?
Now, okay. Now let me add to that question. Let me add, since you opened up that
That's great.
Pandora's box,
Okay.
right?
Right on.
Because I've gotten called out. I've gotten called out by some of my peers. You know where I'm going with this. I got called out by some of my peers that said, How can you be a proponent of cannabis and not partake? I said I was a market leader for CVS and I wasn't on fentanyl, oxy, right? Come on. Just because you're in the business doesn't mean you have to partake in it. There are many people who own liquor stores. Doesn't mean they drink, right? Business is business. Be smart about it. You know, Pure Genesis is in this business because our mission is education, access, and advocacy. Before we even had a license, we have a workshop called Now You Know. We mainly do it for at-risk youth, ages 13 to 22. And what we do is we teach about the plant, the medicinal benefits, how to start a business, how to prevent drug misuse and incarceration. We did it because we didn't want them behind the bleachers getting high. We want them to understand business for what it truly is, a business, an industry. And I can't tell you how many light bulbs have gone off since we've been able to do that. We've done it from everyone to at-risk youth in homes to the NAACP and everyone in between. So that's our focus, is education and making certain that we dispel a lot of the myths. You know, people don't realize when you talk about cannabis, there's two sides of the cannabis coin. There is marijuana, THC, cannabis, and then there's hemp. But I tell people when we first got here as slaves in Virginia with the first colony, do you know we grew hemp? And they used to call it the N-word crop. Because
I did
hemp,
not know that.
I never heard that.
They used to call it the N-word crop because it was so hard to grow and harvest hemp. Nobody that looked like not us would touch it because it was that hard to farm. So that's what they called it that.
Wow.
So,
I
but
had
you got to
never heard that.
understand your history as you move forward because so many people perpetuate these myths in terms of how this got here. And we have to stop talking about ropes and sales and talk about what we were trying to do. Hemp was $1 billion crop, right? It was required, right?
You were required to grow
It was required by the UK to grow. You could pay your taxes with hemp. That's how important hemp was.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I think I veered off the subject. But
No,
yeah,
no.
that was my first and last time.
You just blew my mind. That's why I'm just like, holy crap! Like I didn't.
Wow.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they just.
I knew about I guess when the Mexicans were coming in, the whole marijuana, why it became marijuana, but
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I did not know that part.
Yes. And you're right. All the perpetuation of the negative stigmas at the, where black and brown, of course, we're at the center of the disenfranchisement, the destruction of communities.
Yeah.
We all understand the Controlled Substances Act and the purposes and all that stuff. But even before that, everything was nefarious. People don't talk about how DuPont actually wanted to kill the whole hemp business because he figured out how to make plastic and paper cheaper. That was all.
And
It just so
nylon.
happened that Andrew was our Secretary of Treasury.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sign on hemp for your $10 bill and at the same time kill an entire industry, right?
Yep.
But that's what happened because he was the banker for DuPont.
The war on drugs actually started with the Chinese immigrants with the opium.
Yes.
It started, and they figured, hey, we could do this to the Chinese. We could do this to anyone. And they're like, they controlled the opium
That's right.
because the Chinese were taking jobs away from Americans for building the railroads.
Yes.
And look that one up. It's the opium issue. That was before cannabis in the 30s, and that's what they did with cannabis. Unbelievable. So my second question.
Oh, that was question one. Okay.
Actually, they just arrested a person of color in Hackensack for growing weed. So they're still putting black and brown people in chains for a plant in New Jersey, no matter what we vote on. Even though we voted on the constitutional right to grow, I guess the corporations need the constitutional right, not us, because it does say constitutional right. Like we changed the Constitution for that vote. But
That's another thing I was
don't
going to
get
say.
it.
Like, we've been having all these conversations about impact zone and
Impact zone too.
and
Please.
and seeds and all this other stuff. Where does home grow come into play? That's a big one too. Like we're still like the guy in the heck sack. I don't know if it's a guy or a woman, but like what where are we still at with that? What is the point? Like, and it goes to that sign too. Corporations can grow; they don't go to jail. They, you know what I mean, and they're growing for profit. Most of the people that are going to be home growing is because it's going to be of their own health, and because they are probably on government assistance like myself. I'm on disability, and I only have a fixed income. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't go to a dispensary and drop $300, $400 dollars.
I see people doing it though.
I
They're
can't.
emptying their
I can't.
wallet, a big pile of money, and
They're
I'm
doing
like,
it. They're doing
old
it.
people too.
I have a 6-year-old to take care of as well. Like, like I can't do all that, and still medicate. Like, home grow would be a game changer, life changer for
It would be a
myself.
life changer. I think you're absolutely correct. For me, home grow would have been great as I watched my mother survive cancer by losing 70 pounds. Her skin turned coal black and her mental acuity diminished because she had no appetite because of the chemo and radiation therapy, right? So I watched her almost basically, the recovery treatment nearly killed her. And had she just been able to maintain her appetite, right, she would have had a much healthier recovery. Fast forward, the week after she died, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so I've always thought about alternative medicine because then at the time, my husband, he was marketing director for a pharmaceutical company. He told me, let me just give you clarity on traditional medicine. It kills the good, it kills the bad, but it also kills the good. Yeah. Understand what you are consuming. So I've always stepped back to look at medicine very differently. And home grow would help a lot of people because you're right. They're emptying their wallets for relief from Parkinson's, epilepsy, autism. There's so many things so many major conditions that people are suffering from. Forget the minor ones, major ones that people are suffering from that cannabis can impact in a great way, not a small way, in a great way. And then there's just those who want to live their daily life without certain pains. And I can't tell you how much home grow would help with that.
Second question. Since it's not okay, I was going to ask what's your favorite munchie, but what's your favorite food?
If I was munching, if
you were stoned, what would you eat?
If I was stoned, what would I eat? Ooh, probably a little bit of everything. I'm a foodie.
Oh,
for real.
Okay, so let's go.
I'm a foodie for real.
Make me hungry.
So I'm like one of those ones like put it all out, yes. And I'll just a little bit of everything.
Oh.
So
yeah, your smorgasbord look like?
My smorgasbord would be like lobster, some octopus, some shrimp, some colossal shrimp, and maybe some crab cakes just to start.
Crab cakes.
And then we would go into some Wagyu beef, maybe some great lamb chops with some au jus. Or mint jelly, then we can shift over and we can have some, what we want to have, some nice Brussels sprouts, love Brussels sprouts, maybe, I'm a big proponent. I used to make this dish called, now you got me thinking, I used to make this dish called seafood lasagna.
Oh.
It was a white base.
Come on.
Not red, it was white base.
Oh my.
Cream sauce that had crab, scallops, and shrimp in it. Layered up like a lasagna.
Oh, come on.
With zucchini and a couple of veggies that were cut in between with a garlic white sauce.
Aye.
That was like everything with 3 different cheeses on top.
I was going to ask, you need carbs. So
Yeah,
there's carbs.
and then dessert. I make this cake called a cold oven cake. And I gotta tell you, it's like literally everything. That would be your munchy dessert. It's called a cold oven cake because you literally put it in the oven, then you turn it on. No preheating. It doesn't have any leavening ingredient in it. No,
Okay.
no baking powder, nothing.
Okay.
And it's
Cold
absolutely delicious.
I've
It tastes like a pound cake, but better. Absolutely. I get requests for it all the time, so much so I make them in mini little muffin tins so people can just like pop them out and eat them because it's almost like one of those Jonesy things. You eat a piece, you got to eat another piece, you got to eat another. So I try to.
What's in it?
Huh?
What's in it? It's like a pound cake, or
It's like a pound cake, but better.
But better.
It's like a 60-year-old recipe. One of those. Yeah.
what else is in it?
Good stuff.
Tell me.
Good stuff.
Tell me. Making me hungry. I want to make it.
It is. I can't. I'd have to kill you.
Can you make it and I can have some?
I'll have to make some for you one day.
I'm gonna come down to.
I'll make some for you one day.
I want to try it now. Now
I'm a cook. Made them pie.
I want to be out
I
there.
make it pop from scratch. Yeah. See, you talk about food. I was like, "Ooh, you can turn the button on."
My mouth is watering.
I know. I love this question.
I know, like, oh, food. Like
Every time this question goes, I get hungry because you guys are all.
my daughter was just home from college, and I made her a couple chicken pot pies. She was like, I said I could make chicken pot. She was in the room. She poked her hair on this corner. She was, "Oh, Mom, for real? Are you gonna?" Of course, now these big doe eyes. I gotta go. Of course. And yeah, I just finished it off last night.
Oh man.
So good.
From
So good.
scratch, from like even the
Totally from scratch.
the pastry.
You can
too?
do everything from scratch.
You
But
can-
you
That sounds
You can
amazing.
cheat though. You
Come
can
on.
cheat.
Well,
if you
yeah,
get
yeah.
the Pillsbury ready-made pie crust,
I heard you can use that.
You
It's
can
fine.
use that.
Good substitute.
top
sure.
and bottom. And I'll give you this recipe because it's an easy recipe. Okay, it's very easy. Get some chicken thighs,
Okay.
not breast.
I use chicken thighs.
thighs.
Always for soup, everything.
You
chicken
want
thighs.
dark meat,
Yeah, and
right?
tasty.
Seasoned up nice, right?
Yeah.
Season it up, cook it up, and then let it sit overnight in its seasonings. The next day, you pull it out, you cut it up, not in chunks, like a shredding almost, like you're shredding it almost.
Shred it.
Okay, so shred it up, nice. And then you're going to add mixed vegetables. You can get them out of the frozen section.
Peas.
Now, depends, do you like lima beans or not? So get
Sure.
with the lima beans, and my kids won't eat lima beans. They see one, it's almost like they saw an insect in their food. So I was like, I'm like sensitive to that. So mixed vegetables, frozen though, they have to be frozen. Okay.
Well, yeah.
They have to be frozen. Get that, a can of condensed cream of chicken Campbell's soup. Nothing substituted. Condensed cream of chicken Campbell's soup. You'll mix in half the can, large bag of mixed vegetables. You'll put in the chicken because you want the mixed vegetables to be frozen. Why? Because they will melt and it'll give you a little bit more consistency
Yeah.
when you cook it. You'll put it in the bottom. You'll have the pie crust, put in the guts, top it off, and a little bit of extra seasoning on top. Pop it in the oven for about an hour, and you've got a great chicken pot pie.
Salt and pepper.
Easy. Oh, yeah. You're going to salt, pepper.
What else?
But when you're going to salt and pepper, though, remember I said you're going to season that chicken
Yeah.
when you sit in the refrigerator, so it should be good.
Okay.
So every bite should be perfect.
Yeah.
That's an easy, you could make that dish, if you had that chicken cooked, you can make that dish in 10 minutes.
Yeah. That's a pretty easy.
So it's my mom's birthday this weekend. I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Oh man.
Try it out. Try it out.
I don't know
I'm
if
telling
it's a good
you.
idea to try it out on my mom's birthday, but yeah, let's
So,
try it out.
but what you do, put a
it.
little less for you because you haven't done it yet. Put a little less of the cream of chicken in because you don't want it to be soupy. So when you cut it, you want it to hold firm
yes.
like a piece of pie,
Right,
right?
but
Yeah.
still have that.
Yeah. And then be careful of the edges, because you don't want the edges to burn, because that's be in there for like an hour. So what I do is I put foil on the edges to keep it from cooking fast.
That's a
watch
hack
it.
right there. That's a little hack.
So yeah.
Yeah, I was
that's
thinking about
important.
also. I was thinking about like you know how they use like what is it, butter and like egg yolk or whatever.
Oh, yeah, brush
kind
it.
of brush it on top.
You can brush
to
it on
give
top.
that-
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can. See, now you talking. You asking questions on food. Okay.
Yeah.
got
Now
us
it's about to
going.
get dangerous, right?
That was the egg wash on top. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man. The last question. Oh, go ahead.
Okay,
You
go
got
ahead.
something to say
No, no,
about
go
food?
ahead.
Go
Nope.
ahead. Go ahead.
Nope,
Okay.
nope, no, go ahead.
Last question's a good one. If you have a friend who's maybe down or depressed or anxious, what would you tell them, like a life lesson that maybe helped you through life, or that you would tell someone else to uplift them and help them get through a tough time, like a gem that you maybe you have?
Well, see, for me, I'm a God-fearing woman, so I believe in Jesus Christ. So I always tell people to look to their faith for their support, but I also say look to your family where you can, look to your friends who are there to help and not judge, and look to those outside that are educated who can help you, because there are those who are going to counsel you to help you, because we have some challenging times in front of us, and it's not enough just to say you'll feel better tomorrow, you'll get better, or I'm here for you. You got to really take action with people today. I just had somebody tell me yesterday that they had a relative who took their life. It's serious business out here today. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of misguidedness. There's a lot of people hurting, and for good reason, not misguided, for good reason. We have to put our arms around people and love them differently. We have to relax and not perpetuate so much hate. And we have to make sure people get the right help. Sometimes that can be cannabis. That can help them. Sometimes that can be cannabis combined with the right medical attention, combined with the right love and support from family, combined with your faith, right? Sometimes it takes all of that to bring somebody forward out of the fog, the misery, the challenge, the depression that they're currently in, so that they can sustain their life. And it takes being consistent in terms of your help with that individual.
Wow, that's a good answer. Wow. We've got a lot of different answers, and they all hit you different ways. So, yeah, amazing. Yeah, because as Christians, we're supposed to help people. We're supposed to go back for the one, leave the 99, go back for the one, and that's what we try to do here. We try to remind you, we got to go back for the one. You got wheelchair accessibility issues everywhere, and we do people chairs.
Well, I tell people whether you're a Christian, whether you're of the Jewish faith, whether you are of the Muslim faith, faith is your faith, right? It's not for us to condemn faith, but to perpetuate what's good about your faith and how you move forward within it. So I appreciate you sharing that, because we should be clinging to it today.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, it feels like the one is going back for the one,
Yeah, there's not 99 going back for the one. It's like just maybe one or two going back for the one now. It's like, well, wait a minute. Come on, guys. Let's go.
Yes. Agreed. So, yeah.
So thank you. What more can you tell us about Pure Genesis, and how'd you get the name Pure Genesis, by the way?
Okay, so how do we get the name Pure Genesis? Well, it came from our thought process around cannabis, really. And we thought, here is a plant used thousands of years ago in its purest form, and arguably the first industrial plant, hence Pure Genesis.
Yes, I knew it was something like that.
So, but for us, we are an MWBE certified business with about 250 years of experience. We've from corporate to cannabis. So that either means we're all old or we have a lot of experience. Don't say anything, Chris.
I'm not laughing. I'm not.
As I shared earlier, our mission is education, access, and advocacy. And as such, we are looking to produce cannabis in all forms. We're looking to cultivate, manufacture, and dispense at some point. Our strategy is to make certain we're providing efficacious products and services. But the most important piece of Pure Genesis is that we're looking to be a community-first partner. And what I mean by that is we will offer 30% of our jobs through reentry programs. We're doing transferable leadership skills training, offering more than a living wage, doing scholarships and internships through Stockton University, and possibly Rowan.
Oh, right on.
And we're also looking to have incubator space on site. And we're doing 1% profit sharing in the communities where we reside.
Right on.
So we've got 6 business entities where we're applying for a cannabis license. We've grown hemp in 3 states. We also are launching our line of CBD beverages called Genesis at the end of this year, beginning of next year, which is a CBD-infused cooler. We do education and consulting where I talked about our workshop that is now trademarked. And I think the last piece is also equally important is next year, August 24th and 25th, we are going to hold an event for 100 Black women cannabis leaders in the industry called Black Girls Can. And the reason that we're doing it is because we know that Black women leaders in this industry own less than 1% of the market. Our goal is to unmute the value, the vision, and the voice of Black women leaders in this community. So we're going to engage, we're going to empower, we're going to provide them with the resources and look to help Black women win. That's Pure Genesis.
I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
Is there a website that?
Yes, our website is puregenesis.us. If you want to look at our beverage, you can go on Instagram at Genesis Infused. Check us out. If you want to find us on LinkedIn at Pure Genesis or Facebook at Pure Genesis 410.
Yeah, LinkedIn, we can talk about weed.
LinkedIn, we can talk about weed. So look us up
We're
at Pure Genesis.
Faye, thank you so much.
Thank
You're the
you.
best.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Chris, appreciate you too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Best.
Thank you for the knowledge.
Yes.
Oh,
it's
thank
good stuff.
you.
Yeah, I learned quite a few things today. Very good. I love having smarter people than me on the podcast.
I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know about a lot about that. Let's go take a break. Let's go do some dabs or something. All right. I know. You're not going to join us, but maybe someday. Someday. Not today.
Maybe when I come back with a chicken pot pie.
Maybe that day. Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Faye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Faye Coleman, Pure Genesis. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We are going to take a break now. I don't know where Jason is or where Adam is or where anyone is. I don't know what happened there, but we're going to take a break now and be back on later. Hi, Seth. Good morning. Good afternoon. We'll catch you back here in a little while. We're the Ignorance is No Excuse podcast coming to you live from Canada 1 in Medicine.